I was 17. I broke my leg in 3 places, and that's why I want to be a PT. Dr. James Eubanks gives us a statistic that tells us that about 50% of the people over the age of 18 have some reason to visit a physical therapist. That's shocking. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says that there are about 200 to 300 physical therapists, 200 to 300,000 physical therapists in the US. I think that most of us in here at one time or another have had some sort of pain, whether it was a broken bone, a torn ligament, or just back pain. Those are all reasons to visit a physical therapist. In the medical field, PT is incredibly important when it comes to rehabilitation. In my paper, I go into depth about the ideas of how PT was started and why, as well as the average salary of a physical therapist, and finally the percentage of physical therapists per doctor in the US. My first idea was the history of PT. It started back before the turn of the 20th century. In the late 19th century, PT was used for more than just injuries. It was actually created in wake of the polio epidemic. PT was helpful because it was a prescribed physical activity, which made it sound like a doctor's orders to do what polio patients needed to do. PT sciences were greatly improved after the first school was established. The first school was established in the preceding years of World War I. The school allowed for a more formal education and a more intense way to get in depth into the field of PT. With a solid foundation established over 100 years ago, it is now one of the fastest growing medical fields in the US. PT generates a huge amount of cash flow in the US. Just like any other doctor's office, it can be expensive, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics gives us that proof. PTs typically come in with a professional degree or a doctorate, but their salaries can vary. In terms of cash flow, PTs make about $80,000 to $90,000 a year. With that amount of money, with the amount of money that PTs make, it's interesting to consider how much of a role they play in the economy. If a PT makes on average $85,000 a year, and there's about 300,000 PTs in the US, that's upwards of $23 billion being flushed through the physical therapy system. Seeing how much money that is, and hearing how much a surgeon makes, it kind of puts into perspective the price gap in the two fields. It doesn't really help us comprehend how much money a surgeon makes, but it kind of levels the playing field. With the amount of money that's going through this field, there's no doubt that it will raise some eyebrows, and that's why it's one of the fastest growing professions in the US. PTs make up a large portion of the total medical field in the US. PTs are not the largest group of healthcare workers, but they do make up a healthy portion. As of 2019, there were approximately 258,000 physical therapists in the US. And with a production of 19%, with a projection of 19%, that means there should be about 300 to 310,000 physical therapists in the US, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. PT is a growing career. It's not as fast as some, but PT is going to average about 2% a year. Physical therapist assistants, the stage before becoming a physical therapist, which most are doctors. Physical therapist assistants, however, are the 7th fastest growing career in the US. PT has proven to be an influential field in the study and is looking like it's going to continue growing. To become a PT, it looks like going to school for about 5 years. You can get your master's, or there are some schools that offer a 3-2 program. What typically happens is you will become a PTA, then you will decide you're going to pursue your doctorate, or for your not just your doctorate, but to become an MD, a medical doctor. You know, as a physical therapist, it's going to be tough work, and I hope to see you someday, but hopefully not as a patient. Thank you.